What are the FCC rules regarding the use of a phonetic alphabet for station identification in the amateur radio service? A. It is required when transmitting emergency messages. B. It is prohibited. C. It is required when in contact with foreign stations. D. It is encouraged. D. It is encouraged. Which amateur radio stations may make contact with an amateur radio station on the International Space Station is using 2-meter and 70 cm band frequencies? A. Only members of amateur radio clubs at NASA facilities. B. Any amateur holding a technician or higher class license. C. Only the astronauts' family members who are hams. D. Contacts with ES are not permitted on amateur radio frequencies. B. Any amateur holding a technician or higher class license. What may result when correspondence from the FCC is returned as undeliverable because the grantee failed to provide and maintain a correct mailing address with the FCC? A. Fine or imprisonment. B. Revocation of the station license or suspension of the operator license. C. Require the licensee to be re-examined. D. Reduction of one rank in operator class. B. Revocation of the station license or suspension of the operator license. What types of amateur stations can automatically retransmit the signals of other amateur stations? A. Auxiliary, beacon, or earth stations. B. Repeater, auxiliary, or space stations. C. Beacon, repeater, or space stations. D. Earth, repeater, or space stations. B. Repeater, auxiliary, or space stations. When, under normal circumstances, may a technician class licensee be the control operator of a station operating in an exclusive amateur extra class operator segment of the amateur band? When? A. At no time. B. When operating a special event station. C. As part of a multi-operator contest team. D. When using a club station whose trustee is an amateur extra class operator licensee. A. At no time. When using tactical identifiers such as race headquarters, during a community service net operation, how often must your station transmit the station's FCC assigned call sign? A. Never. The tactical call is sufficient. B. Once during every hour. C. At the end of each communication and every 10 minutes during a communication. D. At the end of every transmission. C. At the end of each communication and every 10 minutes during a communication. What brief statement indicates that you are listening on a repeater and looking for a contact? A. Words hello test, followed by your call sign. B. Your call sign. C. The repeater call sign followed by your call sign. D. The letters QSY, followed by your call sign. B. Your call sign. If a station is not strong enough to keep a repeater's receiver squelch open, which of the following might allow you to receive the station's signal? A. Open the squelch on your radio. B. Listen on the repeater input frequency. C. Listen on the repeater output frequency. D. Increase your transmit power. B. Listen on the repeater input frequency. Which of the following is an accepted practice for an amateur operator who has checked into a net? A. Provided that the frequency is quiet, announce the station call sign and location every 5 minutes. B. Move 5 kHz away from the net's frequency and use high power to ask other hams to keep clear of the net frequency. C. Remain on frequency without transmitting until asked to do so by the net control station. D. All of the choices are correct. C. Remain on frequency without transmitting until asked to do so by the net control station. How might fog and light rain affect radio range on 10 meters and 6 meters? A. Fog and rain absorb these wavelength bands. B. Fog and light rain will have little effect on these bands. C. Fog and rain will deflect these signals. D. Fog and rain will increase radio range. B. Fog and light rain will have little effect on these bands. What are the frequency limits of the VHF spectrum? A. 30 to 300 kHz. B. 30 to 300 MHz. C. 300 to 3000 kHz. D. 300 to 3000 MHz. B. 30 to 300 MHz. Which of the following is an advantage of HF versus VHF and higher frequencies? A. HF antennas are generally smaller. VHF accommodates wider bandwidth signals. C. Long-distance ionospheric propagation is far more common on HF. D. There is less atmospheric interference static on HF. C. Long-distance ionospheric propagation is far more common on HF. Which computer sound card port is connected to a transceiver's headphone or speaker output for operating digital mode? A. Headphone output. B. Mute. C. Microphone or line input. D. PCI or SDI. C. Microphone or line input. Which of the following controls could be used if the voice pitch of a single sideband signal seems too high or low? A. The AGC or limiter. B. The bandwidth selection. C. The tone squelch. D. The receiver or clarifier. D. The receiver or clarifier. Electrical current is measured in which of the following units? A. Volts. B. Watts. C. Ohms. D. Amperes. D. Amperes. If an ammeter calibrated in amperes is used to measure a 3000 mA current, what reading would it show? A. 0.003 amperes. B. 0.3 amperes. C. 3 amperes. D. 3 milliamperes. C. 3 amperes. What is the ability to store energy in an electric field called? A. Inductance. B. Resistance. C. Tolerance. D. Capacitance. D. Capacitance. What is the current through a 24 ohm resistor connected across 240 volts? A. 24,000 amperes. B. 0.1 amperes. C. 10 amperes. D. 216 amperes. C. 10 amperes. What type of electrical component stores energy in a magnetic field? A. Resistor. B. Capacitor. C. Inductor. D. Diode. C. Inductor. What does the abbreviation LED stand for? A. Low emission diode. B. Light emitting diode. C. Liquid emission detector. D. Long echo delay. B. Light emitting diode. What is component 3 in figure T1? Its symbol is an arc between two electrodes. A. Resistor. B. Transistor. C. Lamp. D. Ground symbol. C. Lamp. What is the name of a device that combines several semiconductors and other components into one package? A. Transducer. B. Multipole relay. C. Integrated circuit. D. Transformer. C. Integrated circuit. What device converts the RF input and output of a transceiver to another band? A. High-pass filter. B. Low-pass filter. C. Transverter. D. Phase converter. C. Transverter. How can overload of an on-amateur radio or TV receiver by an amateur signal be reduced or eliminated? A. Block the amateur signal with a filter at the antenna input of the affected receiver. B. Block the interfering signal with a filter on the amateur transmitter. C. Switch the transmitter from FM to SSB. D. Switch the transmitter to narrowband mode. A. Block the amateur signal with a filter at the antenna input of the affected receiver. Why should the outer jacket of coaxial cable be resistant to ultraviolet light? A. Ultraviolet resistant jackets prevent harmonic radiation. B. Ultraviolet light can increase losses in the cable's jacket. C. Ultraviolet and RF signals can mix, causing interference. D. Ultraviolet light can damage the jacket and allow water to enter the cable. D. Ultraviolet light can damage the jacket and allow water to enter the cable. Which instrument will you use to measure electric potential or electromotive force? A. An ammeter. B. A voltmeter. C. Wavemeter. D. An ohmmeter. B. A voltmeter. Which type of voice mode is most often used for long-distance weak signal contacts on the VHF and UHF bands? A. FM. B. DRM. C. SSB. D. PM. C. SSB. What mode of transmission is used for satellite beacons? A. RTTY. B. CW. C. Packet. D. All of these choices are correct. D. All of these choices are correct. What operating activity involves contacting as many stations as possible during a specified period? A. Contesting. B. Net operations. C. Public service events. D. Simulated emergency exercises. A. Contesting. What does the abbreviation PSK mean? A. Pulse shift keying. B. Phase shift keying. C. Packet short keying. D. Phase slide keying. B. Phase shift keying. What is an advantage of using a properly mounted 5/8 wavelength antenna for VHF or UHF mobile service? A. It has a lower radiation angle and more gain than 1/4 wavelength antenna. B. It has very high angle radiation for better communicating through a repeater. C. It eliminates distortion caused by reflected signals. D. It has 10 times the power gain of 1/4 wavelength design. A. It has a lower radiation angle and more gain than 1/4 wavelength antenna. Which of the following connectors is most suitable for frequencies above 400 MHz? A. UHF PL259/SO239 connector. B. A Type N connector. C. An RS213 connector. D. A DB25 connector. B. A Type N connector. What can happen if a lead-acid storage battery is charged or discharged too quickly? A. The battery could overheat, give off flammable gas, or explode. B. The voltage can become reversed. C. The memory effect will reduce the capacity of the battery. D. All of these choices are correct. A. The battery could overheat, give off flammable gas, or explode. What is the purpose of a safety wire through a turnbuckle used to tension guy lines? A. Secure the guy if the turnbuckle breaks. B. Prevent loosening of the guy line from vibration. C. Prevent theft or vandalism. D. Deter unauthorized climbing of the tower. B. Prevent loosening of the guy line from vibration. Which of the following frequencies has the lowest value for maximum permissible exposure limit? A. 3.5 mHz. B. 50 mHz. C. 440 mHz. D. 1296 mHz. B. 50 mHz.